In my recent Jaka brick reviews for the Across the Spider-Verse minifigures, I've been very impressed. Knocked out of the park with both of these, with the amount of accessories, the quality of the print, and of course just being straight out of the screen representations of these characters in Lego form. In those reviews I mentioned I picked up one more of their minifigures, being the Jaka brick Spider-Gwen, as you can see here. Another minifigure I'm glad to have in the collection and one I'm excited to take a look at, so let's go ahead and check out the contents of the packaging. For Gwen, she doesn't have as many accessories as Miles, obviously, but you get two different unmasked heads with two different color options for her hair, one being more yellow, one being more tan. So you have an option for what you prefer there. A hood to go with the two unmasked heads, as well as the sort of universe jumping watch that they have from the movie. Plus, I got two stickers, one being Killmonger, which is unfortunately a duplicate, but also John Walker as U.S. Agent or Captain America. Good to get those as well, just as a little gift. And you get the card, which is going to be a Tracy and Jaka collab. You get Gwen in this nice silver as a little etching of her render. And there's plenty to go over, so let's go ahead and jump into the figure review. What jumps out at me about Gwen is that it is a simple minifigure, but also seems pretty complex. You can see on the torso that there is the same sort of texture and stippling sort of design that was from Miles, but there's two different shades since there's that darker gray and then the white for the white sections. So they're kind of balancing the two different pads probably of that. Printing of that texture goes on the arms. Nothing on the side of the torso, unfortunately, but continues all the way around the legs, on the back. And the abstract space for her like curves ends up just being white, which might look a little off to me and is why I might prefer the Phoenix Customs version over this one for how they did that figure. And I feel like the pinks might not match super well here, where the pink on the hood feels a lot more vibrant than the pink on the sleeves and then even the hands, which seem even darker. So there's kind of the three different shades of pink on the minifigure. Moving up the arm, there's that perfect wraparound with the web lines continuing all the way around the arm, so that is good to see. That is a nice detail. And same goes for the legs, where it has that shoe printing wrapping all the way around, the laces going around, and on the inside of the minifigure you get the shoe printing as well, with different designs than what is on the outside. I honestly wish that the symbols on the inside were also on the outside, because I think that is how the Converse shoes actually look in real life. But you get really nice detailing still with the shoes, with like that black line showing the sole. You get the two different dots that are accurate to those types of like skater shoes. And the color looks nice on that as well, and just contrasts the black, white, and pink for the rest of the minifigure and kind of ties it into her web line designs. Another little bit of nice additional printing is just printed hands, web lines, as well as printed fingertips. So they put in a lot of extra effort into those. And these are going to be custom molded parts, not official Lego hands, just because to print on hands, the Lego ones are a different type of plastic than the rest of the torso and all that. And ink just doesn't go on them well. So if you're not super familiar with customs, that's something you might want to know. Molded hood looks nice and also contains the same sort of texturing line on it, though when it is white like this, it might be a little bit harder to tell, especially in like the harsh lighting of my lighting box, but it is there. And popping that off, which is a little tough actually. I feel like the hood is probably a little too tight and I'm worried about the printing long term. You're going to want to get the hood on the side of the head that you want and then keep it there. And you get that face and the additional side with the squinted eyes. I'll switch that around quick. After taking a quick look again, I was wrong about the hood. It does not have texturing printing on it. Now the Life Brick version did, and I'm pretty sure the Phoenix Customs version did, so it's too bad to see it not printed on this one. Matches the side of the torso, but of course the rest of the white has the dot printing. So from a distance, you're not going to notice as much. If you're looking at it very close on, you will. I do like the squinting look. I feel like this is kind of her design when she's like diving down. So it's very fitting to have it for her, since I feel like she does that a lot in the movies, especially the first one. And while I don't have a version from Into the Spider-Verse, I wanted to pick up this one, so I had one that would kind of go between the two movies. And I guess the official minifigure is a pretty good representation too, but these custom companies just going above and beyond, especially in the shoe print design. And that is just something that would be missing from an official Lego version. So got my version here. There are two different heads like I showed off, so let's get some of those unmasked looks on. And in addition to the head and the hair, you also get the hood piece, which just emulates her having her mask and hood down. There is the pink as well as the web printing at the back there. And you get the two different hair pieces. So right now I have the tan version on with the pink highlights. And her, I think this is the crying, more sad look or concerned look. And you get two separate heads since they also printed hair on the back of the head. So you can't have two faces on both sides. Just try and get this hair off. And this is one of those things with those Jaka female hair pieces. They are just awful. They're way too tight the head where you can barely get it off and you're just risking damaging the figure every time. And that's kind of a goofy look. The hair is printed on like the side of the head. I'm sure you could do a goofy sort of fig barf with something like this. Maybe for Britney Spears or something. That would be kind of cool. But that's what that looks like. And I'll throw on the yellow hair piece on this one. And I noticed that this yellow one felt like it was a little looser, which is nice. This is a pretty good look too. The highlights of the pink are going to be the exact same basically. I feel like maybe the pink is blended a little bit better on the tan one. And this feels a lot more plasticky. There's a lot of shine to it. It might be a little more transparent maybe, where more light is showing through it and just making the color a little bit weirder. But it's nice they got the two different hair colors. And let's show off the other head too. And this smiling head is very nice too. You get the stud in the eyebrow as well. Just talking about some of the facial features that was on the other head too. Because they had some pink coming off. So just be careful with those highlights. They might chip a little bit. And the smile and freckles, also just nice little details. You get the eyebrows. So it's a good female expression. I'm sure you could use this on a bunch of different characters if you wanted to fig barf a bit. You might just need to make sure you have hair pieces that cover up the undercut, since that might look a little off in some of your like designs if you're putting other characters together. But that looks good. You know, like I said, you get that other hair piece, so we'll toss that on this one too. And that is what I've enjoyed about these Spider-Man figures by Jaka here, is you get all these different options to mix up your characters. And it is nice that they did include two separate hair pieces. They didn't have to do that. They could just picked one, but they wanted to give the customers more options. And I feel like maybe it was because this color matched the one from the first minifigure, something like that. But very cool. I think the combos you can do between the unmasked and masked versions are very well appreciated. And there's one more wrist accessory as well. And there's the sort of teleportation watch, universe traveling watch on. Jaka's silver printing is really bad and chips on basically everything if you even look at it. So there's a chip on this already, which is awful. Terrible quality control. I had that happen with my Gamora sword as well. And I'm definitely not going to display the figures with the watches on, since the arms are printed. They'll probably get damaged and just be SOL on the minifigures. So that's too bad. I also noticed the hands were really hard to get off when I put this on. So I don't want to mess with those too much either, since they are also printed. I'm noticing some chips in the hands, even in the printed area of the fingers. So did it for the video, never going to do it again, and I just hope that this figure stays well printed throughout time as I'm moving it around. Would hate to have it randomly damaged more, but that is Gwen. Let's go to some comparisons and the final verdict. While I think there are a lot of positives about this Gwen minifigure, I feel like out of the three Jaka Brick Spider-Verse minifigures that I do have, this one's probably the weakest. I kind of wish I would have gotten the Phoenix Customs version. I just think the design overall for that one ended up being a little bit better, especially on the shoe front. You know, the wraparound leg printing there is pretty good, but I feel like the detailing on it isn't as precise as the version in the movie, and I just think the Phoenix Customs one got a lot more of those details like spot on, and like copied it, so it's more accurate. The style on this one, just like the other two here, same sort of stippling and texture design, looks great on the arms and other parts of the minifigure to give it a very distinct animated look, matching what she looked like in the movie. The alternative heads and hairs, those are also nice to get. Like I pointed out though, the hood, very tight. I'm worried long term, if you're going to be switching out the different masked sides of that head, you're going to damage the printing eventually. Just a quick comparison of her next to the official Lego one, and it's amazing the just improvements that a custom company can do for a character like this, especially with that arm printing. And I feel like I need to track down a version from the first Spider-Verse movie, but I feel like this is a pretty good copy of her from that. Just need some printed arms maybe, if I can find some upgrades for those, or even some shoe pieces to go with it. It's great to see these two together though, and I am glad I did match up on brands for these. I feel like I definitely would have wanted the Jaka version of Miles no matter what. And since they have the same sort of stippling detailing, they're going to be very consistent. And I guess same goes for Hobie, but nobody else has done him, and definitely not the quality that Jaka has. I guess Jin has a design. I don't know if it's actually released yet, but I'll always be happy to have that one. Vamarum Spot is also going to be a good foil for all of them if I ever did a Spider-Verse mock. But let me know, out of these 3 Jaka Spider-Verse minifigures, which one is your favorite? Hands down, Spider-Punk for me, and I feel like Miles is pretty far second, but still a good minifigure. I'm glad to have these for the collection. For me, when it comes to these like movie-type minifigures, it has to be a character that I really love. And those Spider-Verse movies are just revolutionary in their animation style. And it's just great to see them innovating in the form of animation instead of just making the same sort of Disney and DreamWorks schlop that it feels like a lot of companies end up doing. These minifigures are also going to look great next to the Peter B minifigures by Crosscheck, like I pointed out in the last couple of reviews, and just throwing in the Corfigs Spider-Man again, since he was in the movie and is also at the same level of detailing as those ones to all be consistent. And I love that about companies, when you can put all these minifigures next to each other and they all fit in perfectly. Even when you throw in like an official Lego minifigure like the 2099 here, where it's a pretty simple minifigure, but the detailing on there does make it go up a little bit, because it also has some animated sort of stippling effects on the figure. I didn't pick up a custom version of him yet. I am pretty happy with the official one, honestly. If you want to see more custom Lego Spider-Man or custom Lego superhero videos overall, check out all the videos on my channel. I've been Brick Radiop, and I will see you in the next video.